Good morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here today. I'm going to get the date right. It's May 25, 2025. Yesterday I said June. I don't know. I was so tired. Excuses, excuses. We all make excuses, but that's life. We just do the best we can with what we got. And I don't know. We had such a great time yesterday. Now, I have a verse in my pocket that I got down at the Y, and it is so good that I'm just going to share it with y'all this morning, being it's Sunday morning anyway. Of course, I love my scriptures. And you know what? Every time you pull these out, you get them upside down. That's just the way it goes. But this is Isaiah 41:10, and it says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed." We get dismayed sometimes, but he tells us not to. "For I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Thank you, Lord. That's such a wonderful promise. And of course, we do what we can to help ourselves with as we learn. And I tell you what I've been doing. I started back on my B12. I just forgot about it. You know, I take my vitamins, I take my one a day, but you need to take extra B12. And I am feeling stronger. It's a liquid, you get it at the Walmart, B12 liquid, and you just take a little dropper full every morning. And I've been taking it about a week and a half now, and I've been sleeping better. I think that might be what it is. So I'm getting ready to treat my feet. Get whatever you want to drink. Now, I got my coffee right here. I need to pull my little table over closer. I got it. So this morning I showed you my entryway on a short video I did. And James just keeps bringing stuff and putting it. But I put my paintings there a few years ago. I am 91 for you new subscribers. And look, I only look 54, wouldn't you say? 25? I don't know. Maybe 70. My twin daughters are 71 now. So, God is good to me. I have wrinkles. But you know what? This iPad is a work of God because it camouflages my wrinkles. And anyway, I look better with this iPad, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, iPad, that God gave me. Look on the bright side. That's what my mom always said. So anyway, now where was I? Oh, yes. I'm going to tell y'all what happened the other day. Well, you know, I've been having trouble getting my videos on after I do them over at James's house because the modem definitely was not working very good. Because over here, they gave me a new modem for Spectrum. Now, he's with T-Mobile. And we've had it a couple of years, the modem. I'm getting ready to do my feet. Y'all don't care, do you? Let's have a sip of coffee. Sit down, join me. I don't know how long I'll be. I can't be too long because church starts pretty soon, streaming. But one thing about church, when you stream, I can start him wherever I want to, and I can hear it all. James is going to be a little late. He's got to go to Menards and get something after church because he goes to church in person. But I stay here and I do my video and then I listen to it here at the house. Can drink my coffee, get up and walk around. I've got this watch that says, it is time to get up and walk around some. It reminds you what you need to be doing. Of course, I get up and walk around. That's the reason I can't sit for those Pentecostal churches. Bless their heart. Excuse me. They usually run 2 hours. At least an hour and a half. And that's tough for me to sit that long. Now, here's my coffee. My thing that I treat my feet with. See this right here? This is what I do. It's called the Rebuilder, and it vibrates. And they cost about $1,000 now. But I've had this one since I was 74, and you know it keeps me on my feet. I do have neuropathy, but I do not have, excuse me, diabetes. I'm putting it on the bottom of my feet, and then I'll turn it on, and it runs for 30 minutes. And I don't have to do anything except just turn it on, let it run, and enjoy it. Oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Uploading, downloading, whatever. I think it's uploading. I'm not real techie. But my modem over at James's house, which we took out T-Mobile a couple of years ago, it would say waiting. It will be 9 hours before it gets uploaded. And the Lord, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, excuse me, your modem is sick. Excuse me, I got that tickling again. I have sinus drainage. Do y'all know about that? Comes down the back of your throat and tickles, and then you got to drink something. So James was taking a nap, and I grabbed that modem up. I unplugged that sucker. That's not a cuss word. I unplugged that sucker, and I said, we're going bye-bye. You are not living at this house anymore. I talk to things. I talk to the wall sometimes, but now I got 70,000 subscribers to talk to. That's a lot better. Y'all are good listeners. So I grabbed it up, and I threw it in a Walmart bag. You save your Walmart bags. And you know what else I save? I save my coffee cups, because you just rinse them out, and they're just so handy. They got a lid. And then if you want to pour you some tea out of the refrigerator, which I keep sweet tea in the refrigerator, and take it with you if you're going running, like I go running quite a bit, I just pour my sweet tea and take it with me. Or if James comes in and he says, I just want some orange juice to go, I just put it in these cups. You can't beat that with a stick. They're so handy. I got stacks of them. I'm thrifty. Mrs. Peach, I am really thrifty. You know, Mrs. Peach, thrifty living. And there's other thrifty people, women out there besides me. But I say, so I put that in a Walmart bag, because I called them first. I said, have y'all got new modems at your place? I said, if you do, I didn't ask them if they would exchange it. That was already decided by Grandma Lois. I am firm. I am not bringing that thing back home with me. It needs an operation or something. So anyway, I called them up and I said, do y'all have new modems up there? I'm bringing mine to trade in. They said, okay. I mean, they thought it was broke completely. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it was. He said, bring it on out. We'll run test. So I went on out, and I got out of the car and got in, and I got it out of the bag. I said, see this modem? I said, it's out of date and it's no good, and I want my new one now. Have y'all got it ready yet? I called first. And so happened, I got real acquainted with the young man that works out there, because, see, it's just not very far from here, T-Mobile store, where they sell everything and take care of your phone if you need it. And so Christian is his name, and I was there, and he's a big, tall, good-looking guy. And so I said, well, hello, Christian. And hey, he is the one I talked to on the phone that says I'm coming to swap this in. He said, did you go? I said, yes, I did. And this modem is sick. It don't work anymore. I said, I got a new modem at my house, and Christian knows that I live at my house and James's house. I said, and Spectrum sent me a new modem, and it downloads, uploads in 3 minutes when I make my videos, even if they run 30 minutes. I mean, 3 minutes, and it's on the air. I said, so have you got my new one ready? He said, well, it's not quite that easy. He said, we do have new ones, but we have to go through procedure. Have y'all heard tell of procedure or whatever? Well, so I said, all right, let's get with it. And he laughs at me. I said, you know, I'm going to get her done. So he said, well, we're starting. So he called this other guy over who was really in charge. And he was wearing a mask. And when they wear those masks on their face, I can't understand the words they're saying. I don't know why. I guess I read lips because I'm kind of hard of hearing. So I said, what did you say? What did you say? He was a nice young man, and he said, ma'am, I said, just speak up a little. I'm hard of hearing. Even with these hearing aids, I cannot understand when you're wearing a mask. I didn't tell him that, but I'm telling y'all, I'm complaining. But he got better. So he said, okay. So I said, well, have they got my new modem ready? I said, I did call early. He said, we got them here, but I've got to test this one and see what it's doing. So he plugged it up, did stuff with it, and I don't know what all. And then he said, see, the T-Mobile account is in my husband's name, James. They said, are you qualified? Are you the one that is approved to take care of business with T-Mobile? I said, no, my name ain't on it, but James is at the house sleeping, and if you need his social, I got it. I said, we've been married 15 years, and he don't take care of no stuff like that. I take care of stuff like that. I'm a Southern woman, independent, and I take care of things. Learn how to do it, girls. It'll always help you. So I said, I take care of things. So they went through some motion. And which one are you? And I gave him my phone number, and I'm on the account. I said, he pays the bills, and I take care of business. So they looked me up, and they said, okay. So they come out with the new modem. They put it on the counter, and I'm waiting. He said, we're still running tests. I said, okay, but I don't care what kind of test you run on that thing. It ain't going home with me. The new one is going home with me. And they had pulled it out, and I looked at it. Now, the other one was black and just an ugly column, but the new one is plumb cute. It's white, and it's very attractive. It looks a lot better. I said, that one's going to work for me, and that's the one I'm taking home with me when I get done here. They said, we are almost done. You know, be patient. I said, I'm waiting, and I kept a good attitude. I didn't get mean. I might have been a little testy. I said, y'all know I just can't take that home with me. So they ran their test. He pulled out this little SIM card that was in my old modem. He said, well, it don't work anymore. I said, I know. I know. He said, so we could put a new one. I said, no, we won't do that. I don't want no new one in it. I want that pretty white one. That's the one I want to take home with me. Thank you. Well, you mean you're quitting this one? I said, yes, I am. I certainly am. It's not going home with Grandma Lois. And I told them all that I was Grandma Lois with 70,000 subscribers. I'm thrilled. You know, God has done a miracle for this 91-year-old woman who will be 92 in September. But yesterday, when I did when I put the top up, I said June 24 instead of May. I rushed the time, and I didn't even notice it because I was so tired when we got home. We had such fun. And Denny called me this morning. I'll get back to that modem in a minute. But my brother Den called me this morning, and I tried to do a little video on him, and it sounded like the devil got in it because he was bragging on his, you know, how people were really helping and how they were so happy with the yard sale. He called me this morning and gave me a rundown, and they made $1,600 for the church at that yard sale. They did great. Oh, yeah, now, where was I? I do get off track a little sometimes, but I just say, so what? And keep on going. But Denny was really thrilled, and I got some good stuff out there, and James did. Oh, now. Oh, back to that modem. I want to finish that before I talk anymore. So, anyhow, he said this thing in the black one is bad, so you was right. He says, do you really want to trade it in? I said, I sure do. And you know what? As I was sitting there, I had my phone out, and it came up on my phone. You want to return this modem? And and I said, yes, I do. So they let me have the white one, and then they told me I have to do my password and all that stuff, which I do know how to do that stuff, believe it or not. When you get home, he said, you got to do your iPads and your phone and your TV and everything with the new password and everything. I said, okay. So I took it home, plugged it in, and then I made a video last night, and that thing got uploaded in about 10 minutes or less. And it, but I just had to be firm with them. I don't want that old one with a new. He said, well, the firmware and everything in your new, whatever firmware is all updated. And then I looked down at my phone, and T-Mobile had sent me a message. You're good to go. I said, they tell me here I'm good to go. Am I good to go? They said, yes, you're good to go. And so he put the new one in the box and handed it to me. And I got in my car and went home. And James was still taking his nap. So I did that in about an hour's time. That's another miracle of God, isn't it? Well, I was happy with it, I'll tell you. Because when I did that, when I came home last night, yesterday I just did shorts. And mainly until late in the evening, and I came home and I put on my house dress, which is purple. I've got several of them. I got a green one, an orange one, I don't know, a red one, and they're so comfortable, and they go all the way to the floor, and if you go out and sit on the patio, the mosquitoes can't bite your legs. But I ordered from Amazon a bunch of stuff you can, citronella bracelets and stickers you can put on your clothes that will keep the mosquitoes off, because I'm looking forward to sitting out on that patio some and doing some videos out there later on. I was going to do one in the breezeway this morning of my house. We both have breezeways. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you about that cat. You know, those kittens have just, it's so strange. They have decided they want to sleep in the breezeway at James's house, and that's where the deep freeze in my spare refrigerator is. And I got watermelon here, I just remembered. And it was so good. You know, the first watermelon I bought this year was wonderful. Last year, I bought, I imagine, 4 or 5 watermelons. And 2 or 3 of them I had to take back because they were green as gourds. They were unedible. So I put them in a sack and take part of it back and get me another one. And it wouldn't be any better than the first one. And I was absolutely amazed when I cut this watermelon. You know, we used to raise watermelons on the farm, delicious watermelons. And when I cut this watermelon, it cracked. You can hear it crack and pop. That means it's ripe, perfect, it's good. One time we had big field of watermelons back in the back field on the farm. And me and Norman and Phyllis went to get us one. Daddy said we could go pick it out ourselves. So we went back in the backfield, and Norman was carrying that watermelon. I don't think it was me. I think it was Norman. He dropped it. We was only allowed to have one, and it just split wide open. Well, we brought it home and ate it anyway. But this one is so good, and there's still more left, and I have a spare refrigerator. So those kittens, back to the kittens, that have decided they want to sleep in the breezeway at James's house. And it's got a door that latches. You know, it's a big, tall door, but it latches to get into the breezeway. And there's where we keep extra stuff. James cleaned it up. He sent me a man yesterday that cleaned it out. I was so happy. He had tables sitting in the floor. I sent them to the basement. I sent quite a bit of stuff to the basement because that's where it was headed, and I can't take that stuff to the basement. Heavens to Murgatroyd. So they went to bed peacefully. They went right out, and I've got another litter box out there and water and food, and I made them beds, and you know, where they can lay and sleep. They got 2 of them, so they can sleep right, and they sleep right together. They just cuddle with one another, and they're so close, those sisters are, and they look just alike almost, except for their tail. One of them's got a white tippy tail, and the other tail on the very end is 3 colors. And that's the only way I can hardly tell them apart, except the one that loves me. One loves James, one of them loves me. She wants to be in bed with me come hell or high water. That's not cussing, is it? No. No. She's determined. That's what I'm trying to say. No matter what happens, she's going to sleep with her mommy if she can, and that's what she's been doing since she was little. But all of a sudden, in answer to prayer, I do believe, they have decided they're going to sleep in the breezeway. So, last night, when I opened the door for them to go to bed by, they just marched right on through and went to bed, right like that. A miracle. So we went on to bed, and I slept good. Because I tell you what, when you sleep, when we first got them, and they were just little babies, because they were only 3 months old, we would put him in this other room to sleep, and she wouldn't do it. She'd come and scratch on that door and meow till you let her in. And you had to let her in, because if you didn't get no sleep. You had to. She saw to it. And I'm weak. I would open. And it was nice for a while. And then she got bigger and bigger. And then when she wants to sleep so close to me, she's like sleeping with a furnace. They are so hot, and I can't stand hot. I never could. I want to be cool. Do y'all flip your pillow at night? Well, I'm the kind, I got to find me a cooler pillow. Now, I flip my pillow each time I wake up, and it's cooler again. It feels cool on my face, and I just love it. There are some things that are cooler. I got to find me one, but I just flip this one. That does help for a good long while till I go back to sleep. So, last night, the kittens, back to my story, they went to bed. I shut the door, and didn't hear no more from them. I mean, we went on to bed. It was peaceful. We go to bed early and we get up early because we walk at the Y every morning. And if we don't get it done, now James has started going up the stairs, but because of my trick knee, I take the elevator. So he went up the stairs this morning and he said, that was a hard one because it's real high. I mean, there must be 30 steps there. It's like 2 stories. So he went up that way. I don't go up that way. I take the elevator. But anyway, this morning I got up, and first thing I do in the morning when I get up is make me a cup of coffee. And I got one of those you put, it's not those expensive kind. I bought this one at the Walmart, but it still uses the same kind that those fancy ones that cost $120 or more. And this one does just like that. And I just put my little cup in and I make my coffee. And then I get me 1 peanut butter cookie. And so I have my coffee and 1 peanut butter cookie, and I let the kittens out to join me this morning, and I let them out. And of course, my baby doll, she came and had to be patted. Now, another thing, these cats train you. Big Tom sleeps out, and Mama sleeps out in the living room somewhere. I don't know where they sleep at night, but they don't sleep in the breezeway with the girls. So when I get up in the morning, the first thing I have to do is open a can of wet cat food, Friskies, for Big Tom, because he's got to have it. And so he eats his breakfast, and then he goes to the door, and he wants out. So I let him out. And one thing about that cat, he was a feral cat, and he took up with me, and he got hurt real bad, and I rescued him, and we, with help of vet, we saved his life. Didn't cost me anything, which was wonderful because he got hurt. He got hit by a car over on where I live, and he dragged himself bleeding and everything to my back steps where I showed you this morning, and there he laid. He came to me because when he was a feral cat, I would feed him at my house. There was 2 or 3 feral cats, and he was one of them, and he would let me pet him. He liked me, and he loves the food. So he likes to use it outside because he's a feral cat. He don't want to use the kitty litter box, so I have to let him out every morning to go potty. And you know, when we moved him to James's house, he lived here. But when he got hurt so bad, and I called my friend, the cat lady, because her and another group of people, they pick up the feral cats, they take them, they get them fixed, and they bring them back to the area where they live. They leave the feral cats alone. They just make sure you don't get so many cats you don't know what to do with them. And that's a good thing because a cat reaches maturity at 5 or 6 months, and they can have kittens again, and they can have as high as 5 kittens at a time. And if they have 5 kittens and 3 of those cats are females, and there's always tomcats around, they could overrun the world almost. So they need to get fixed. But anyhow, this vet, so I called her, and her good friend was a vet. So they both came. I said, he looks like he's going to die, and I don't know what to do with him. And I brought him in the house and laid him in a box with a blanket when he got hit by that car. I don't like the way that looks. So anyway, they said, well, it looks bad. His jaw was broken. That's why I have to give him the canned cat food. His mouth is still kind of off, but he can eat, and he can eat the dry cat food. So they said, we'll see what we could do with him. So they loaded him up and they took him away. And you know, that vet took him, I hear she's got a lot of cats. I won't say how many. I did hear. And she loves them all. And they're all fixed. So there won't be any more, but she just kept taking them in and saving them. So she's a wonderful woman. So she took Big Tom. And in a few days, she called me and she said, he's real bad. And we're having to feed him with a dropper. He can't chew. His jaw is broken. And his hip is hurt pretty bad. We don't know if he'll be able to walk or not. Well, we just prayed for him, you know. And don't you know, in a couple of weeks, she said, well, you know what? He's a lot better. He can walk. It must have not been completely broken. It must have just been sprained or something. That's all right. And he can eat now. She said, just soft food, real thin. He can lick it all up, and he can eat now. So I'm bringing him home. So she brought him home. And then I gave him away to a girl that her husband worked for James, and she had ovarian cancer, and she wasn't going to live. And that cat, I said, I've been trying to find Big Tom a home. I wasn't going to keep him. I already had Bella, who I loved, another cat. And don't you know, her name was Holly. Holly said, I love that cat. She said, can I have him? I said, yes, you can. I'm trying to find him a home. And she took him home. You know what? He just jumped right up in her lap in the car. She got in the car. He jumped up in her lap and went home with her. And that's what happened. And he stayed with her till she passed away and was a joy to her. I thought it was wonderful. He was gone. Well, she had 2 kids she left, about 10 and 6 years old, a boy and a girl. And they loved him, but their daddy had to move. And he called me and he said he couldn't keep Big Tom anymore. Could he bring him back to me? I said, well, bring him back to me. I'll hunt him a home. But he could not get him in a crate. We found out you cannot get Big Tom in a crate. He's got his claws. We never declawed him or anything. I don't believe in that. They need to be able to fight. So we couldn't get him in. So I said, well, Harold, his name's Harold, Holly's husband. I said, you know, what I'm going to have to do is come and with my car, and he's going to have to ride in your lap to my house. And that's what we did. And it worked. And then when it came time, and time keeps going, everything keeps changing, people. Everything keeps changing. So, here, Bella passed away, my other cat that I'd had a few years. She had a bad kidney infection, urinary tract infection, and we could not save her. She was about 12 years old. So, anyhow, here's Big Tom again. And so he lived here. Well, I tried to just keep him here. He didn't like it without Bella. So I would try to do a video, and Big Tom would want to come sit in my lap all the time, and he probably weighs 12 or 15 pounds. I'm a small person, and him taking my lap, I couldn't even read my iPad, and I read books on my iPad. You can check them right out of the library. It is wonderful to just check your book out on your iPad, and I carry my iPad everywhere with me. So Big Tom said, I said, James, we had 3 cats at the house, the girls and the other cat that we lost one over there. Her half-sister passed away suddenly. Look what happened in the back. I got to change that. Where is my, oh, I don't know. Here it is. Let's see what we're going to do. I like my water behind me. I'll just turn it off. Well, where's the off on button? Here. We'll just make it blank and I'll just keep talking. Because I want to tell you what happened next. My goodness. It's going to be church time in a minute, and I will catch some of it. I'll catch the preaching for sure. Anyway, So I said, he's got to go live someplace else. I can't keep him here. He's so lonely. And let's try moving him to your house with those other 3 cats. And so I had him in my lap. That's the only way you can move him. You can't get him in a cage or a carrier. So he was in my lap. I had him wrapped up a little. And so James is driving, and I got him in my lap, and we get to James's house, and I opened the door, and Big Tom just jumps right out of that. He's so big you can't control him. So he just jumped out on the pavement there, the patio at James's house. And I thought, well, that may be the end of him, because he may get run over by a car again right now. So we have 2 doors. We have where you can get into the dining room from the patio, and you can get into the garage from the patio. So he jumped out, and I got out of the car, and I said, where did he go? Where did he go? James was back there getting ready to go in the garage door. He said, he's here. I said, well, look at him. He wants in that door. So James let him in that door, in the garage door. He went in the garage door, and then you have to step up a step or so to get into the breezeway. James opened the breezeway door. Big Tom just walked through that breezeway door. James opened the other door that in where the cats are. Oh, I remember what I was going to tell y'all about those kittens. I hope you stayed around to hear how that ended. So he just walked into the house, and there's them other cats, and he just made himself at home. And now he goes out when he lets us know when he wants out. He lets us know when he wants in. But last night, when I got up this morning and had my coffee and my peanut butter cookie, I go back to bed now I get up around 4:30. I wake up and I get up and get my coffee and my cookie, and then I go back to bed, and I'll sleep till maybe another half an hour, maybe an hour, till it's time to go walking. We don't have breakfast at that time. We go by, like on a Sunday morning, which this is, we go by the Waffle House. No, where you get the waffle, let's see. Anyhow, we go get us just it's not the Waffle House, but anyhow, we just pick us up a sandwich and go on and walk. The White Castle, that's where we go. White Castle has the best sausage and egg waffle. It's just really good. I like cheese on mine. So the kitty cats, them 2, when I got up and I went to the half bath and I opened the kitty cat door, and I had let them out, you know. When I get up at 4:15 or 4:30, I let them out. They can be with us, and Big Tom eats his food and he goes out. And so, you know what? They went right back to bed. They went into the breezeway. So I just shut the door. I said, that's it. They're going back to bed. Isn't that wonderful? And I'm going to go back to bed too. And I went back to bed and I went to sleep. And I do that nearly every morning. I don't know. I don't understand how it's going, but it feels good. Well, when I woke up, I shut the door. I heard it click. When I woke up, she was not Sweetie, but baby girl, was right there with me in bed. She hadn't caused a problem. She was just as quiet as she just sneaked right. Now, how did she get out of that? Well, how did she get out of that room? Well, it has a handle on it, a door handle, and they can jump like you wouldn't believe. So I believe she jumped and got that. So because we have a fan in our bedroom that I had to extend so I could move it, and I put a ribbon on the controls on the fan and the light to turn. And do you know they jump sometimes and grab that and turn the fan on, off, the light on. If they're in the bedroom, all they have to do is jump and pull it. And they turn the light on or the fan on another speed. It has 3 speeds. But she had to have opened that door because it was shut tight. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. If she goes to bed at night, she decides she wants, because, oh my, cats train you. And that is going to be the title today of my table talk. How are you trained by a cat? And I'm going to stop right now and say, have a blessed day and walk that path where Jesus would be pleased with you. Bye-bye.